Picture walking into a gun shop and laughing at a pistol priced at $150, only to watch it climb to over $1,000 just 5 years later, or dismissing a plastic pocket gun. That would end up becoming the #1 everyday carry in America. It happens more often than you'd think. Today we're talking about 7 firearms that were roasted at launch, called junk, called gimmicks, and written off by the experts, only to come back as the hottest sellers in the industry. These are the guns that turned critics into believers and made early adopters look like geniuses. Number 7. Ruger LCP. Back in 2008, Ruger launched the LCP, the lightweight compact pistol, at 9.4 ounces, chambered in .380 ACP with a 6+1 capacity. This gun was mocked right out of the gate. The complaints came from every corner. Too small, too weak, terrible trigger, useless sights. The internet warriors said real men carried 45s or at least 9mm, not this plastic pocket popper. And to be fair, the first generation had issues. The early run got recalled because it could discharge if dropped. Trigger pull was a long, heavy 8 pounds, and the sights were nothing more than bumps on the slide. At $350 retail, people thought it was overpriced. But Ruger didn't quit. They fixed the drop safety. They released later models with usable sights, and then rolled out the LCP2 with a better trigger. Meanwhile, something big was shifting in the carry world. People realized this little gun was actually easy to live with. The dimensions tell the story. 5.16 inches long, 3.6 inches tall, just 0.82 inches wide. The glass-filled nylon frame and through-hardened steel slide made a package so light, it literally disappeared in a pocket holster. And here's the twist, that heavy trigger everyone trashed. Turns out it was a built-in safety for pocket carry. Then in 2012, Texas Governor Rick Perry sealed the deal. He made national news when he drew his LCP and dropped a coyote that threatened his dog while jogging. Ruger even rolled out a Coyote Special Edition. Suddenly, the LCP wasn't a joke anymore. By 2018, Ruger was celebrating 10 years with an anniversary edition. And today, with more than 3 million sold. The LCP family completely dominates the micro .380 market. Critics miss the point. Defensive shootings happen at 3 yards or less. At that distance, the sights and caliber don't matter. What matters is having a gun you'll actually carry. And the LCP changed everyday carry for millions of Americans. Number 6. Heritage Rough Rider 22. Now let's rewind to the 1990s. Heritage Manufacturing drops the Rough Rider single-action revolver, a $99 wheel gun with a zinc alloy frame. The gun shop culture laughed. This was Saturday night special territory. Employees would literally steer customers away. Save your cash and buy a real gun. The Rough Rider was bottom-shelf material, something you bought when you couldn't afford anything else. But here's what the gatekeepers missed. Heritage used modern machining to crank out a simple, safe, and shockingly accurate rimfire revolver at a price nobody else could touch. The zinc frame wasn't glamorous, but it was more than strong enough for .22 long rifle. The 6.5-inch barrel gave solid accuracy, and the fixed sights were regulated from the factory. The genius was in the simplicity. Single action means fewer parts to fail. The transfer bar safety made it drop safe, something old Colt single actions never had. And with convertible cylinders in .22L, R, and .22 Magnum, shooters basically got 2 guns in one. That's when the tide turned. Younger shooters raised on video games and Western movies started buying them. For the price of a couple boxes of centerfire ammo, they could own a real firearm. Then social media poured gasoline on the fire. Instagram and YouTube lit up with Rough Rider videos. People weren't trying to be tactical operators. They were just out there having fun. And that authenticity resonated. Today, Heritage moves more than 200,000 Rough Riders every year. The line has exploded with barrel lengths, grip styles, and wild special editions. The 16-inch Rancher carbine even went viral as a meme gun, and here's the kicker. They're still cheap. Street price between $150 and $200, the same gun that was laughed off as junk, now holds respect as a legitimate entry-level firearm. Not bad for the revolver nobody wanted. Number 5. Kel-Tec Sub-2000. Back in 2001, Kel-Tec unveiled something the gun world had never seen before, a pistol-caliber carbine that literally folded in half, made mostly of polymer, fed by Glock magazines, and priced around $300. At first glance, people wrote it off as a gimmick, a toy for folks who couldn't afford a real rifle. George Kellgren, Kel-Tec's founder, was already known for thinking outside the box. But the Sub-2000 was radical even for him. Folded, it measured just 18 inches long and 7 inches wide. Open it up, and you had a 16-inch barrel on a rifle that weighed only 4 pounds. The front sight was molded into the polymer forend. The rear was a tubular ghost ring. Early reviews were brutal. The trigger felt spongy. The charging handle tucked underneath the stock was awkward. The sights were called crude. Accuracy was only good enough. Gun shops stocked a few, but nobody expected them to move. Then the world shifted. States started passing magazine capacity bans, making pistol-caliber carbines more attractive. Millions of Glock owners realized they already had the mags to run it. And preppers figured out this thing folded small enough for a backpack, while sharing ammo with their sidearm. The real breakthrough came on the range. That 16-inch barrel turned 9mm into a legitimate 100-yard cartridge. The closed-bolt blowback action ran like a sewing machine. Recoil was almost non-existent, and that funky ghost ring setup. It actually gave a clear sight picture in low light. By 2010, Sub-2000s were impossible to find. Kel-Tec couldn't keep up. Used ones were selling for twice MSRP. In 2015, the Gen 2 hit with upgrades, a crisper trigger, an adjustable stock, and a rotating forend so you could mount optics without blocking the fold. Today, the Sub-2000 is one of the most practical pistol-caliber carbines on the market. Street price hovers around $500 when you can track one down. What started as a weird curiosity has become a must-have for folks who want a compact, reliable, mag-compatible long gun. Number 4. Taurus Judge. No gun on this list took more heat at launch than the Taurus Judge. Released in 2006, this revolver fired both .45 Colt and .410 shot shells. The critics went wild. They called it a gimmick. Neither a good shotgun nor a good revolver. On paper, they had a case. At 29 ounces with a 3-inch barrel, the Judge had a cylinder the size of a soda can just to fit .410 shells. That made it fat for concealed carry. The rifled barrel blew shot patterns wide open past a few yards, and .410 out of a snub barrel is no powerhouse. Taurus marketed it for self-defense, both home and carry. Skeptics tore it apart. Want a shotgun? Buy a real shotgun. Want a revolver? Get one that doesn't weigh like an anchor. But when real people started buying the Judge, something different happened. Not gun writers, not competition shooters, everyday folks. They liked the simplicity of a revolver. No magazines to load, no slides to rack. Pull the trigger, and it fires. The real appeal was psychological. Owners loved loading a mix of shot shell and .45 Colt. First round birdshot, next round buckshot, then a big .45 slug if things got serious. Was it tactically optimal? Not really. But it made people feel ready. Sales exploded. By 2010, the Judge was one of the top-selling revolvers in America. Taurus expanded the line: longer barrels, polymer frames, even a monster version chambered in .454 Cazal. The Public Defender variant took off as a car gun favorite. The Judge kicked off a whole category. Smith & Wesson answered with the Governor. Bond Arms rolled out Derringers in .410/45. And the original Judge still sells strong at around $500. It proved that sometimes giving regular people what they want beats what the experts say they need. Number 3. Canik TP9. Now let's talk about a gun that had an uphill battle from day one. In 2014, Century Arms started importing the Canik TP9, a Turkish-made polymer striker-fired pistol. At a time when the U.S. market was dominated by Glock, Smith & Wesson, and SIG Sauer, the TP9 landed at just $300. Most shops wouldn't even stock it. The reaction was blunt. Turkish junk, get a real gun. That prejudice was strong. Even though Turkey has a deep history of arms production, American buyers equated made in Turkey with low quality. The irony? The TP9 was based on the Walther P99, one of the most advanced striker-fired designs ever, but nobody cared. Look at the specs, though. Match-grade barrel, trigger that averaged 4.5 pounds, Warren tactical sights, 2 mags, a holster, and a hard case in the box, all for less than a used Glock. That trigger alone outclassed anything in its price bracket. Early adopters who took the risk were blown away. These pistols were accurate, reliable, and built right. The ergonomics felt natural. The trigger was crisp. Guys were showing up at local matches and smoking competitors running $2,000 custom rigs with a $300 Canik. The turning point came when serious reviewers weighed in. Military Arms Channel, Hickok 45, and others. The reviews were glowing. Then came the awards. Gun magazines named it Pistol of the Year. Suddenly the question was, how can a Turkish pistol at this price be this good? Century couldn't import them fast enough. Canik expanded the line compact carry versions, competition builds, optics-ready slides. The TP9 SFX quickly became a legend in competition. People were winning matches against tuned 1911s and custom 2011s with a $500 Turkish pistol. Fast forward to today, Canik is a respected name. The TP9 series runs $400 to $600 and sits head-to-head with Glock, Smith, and SIG. They raise the bar for everybody. If Turkey can build a pistol this good at this price, what's everyone else's excuse? The so-called Turkish junk is now winning trophies and riding in carry holsters across America. Number 2, Springfield XD. The Springfield XD has one of the strangest redemption arcs in modern pistol history, because before it wore that Springfield badge, it was a Croatian import called the HS-2000. That pistol hit the U.S. market in 1999. Price tag, about $200, and the reaction was brutal. Most shooters took one look at a cheap Croatian gun and laughed. Nobody wanted to buy a pistol from a country they couldn't even find on a map. And the low price just made it look even sketchier. The crazy part: the HS-2000 was ahead of its time. It blended features that no other polymer pistol offered in one package. It had a grip safety, like a 1911, a trigger safety, like a Glock, a loaded chamber indicator, and even a striker status indicator. The ergonomics were outstanding. The gun was well built, but at $200 the market assumed it was junk. Shops that stocked them on consignment couldn't move them. Early buyers who actually tried them realized they were reliable, but nobody listened. The design was circling the drain in America. Then Springfield Armory stepped in. In 2002, they licensed the design, rebranded it as the XD Extreme Duty, and priced it around $400. Suddenly, the exact same gun that nobody wanted at $200 was flying off shelves at double the price. Why? Because Springfield gave it credibility, and because the specs backed it up. Forged steel slide, hammer-forged barrel, dual captive recoil spring, service life rated north of 50,000 rounds. The grip angle felt more natural than a Glock. The trigger beat most striker-fired guns in that era. And that grip safety was a built-in safeguard against negligent discharges during holstering. By 2003, the XD was named Pistol of the Year. By 2006, the 45 ACP version won Handgun of the Year. Police departments began to adopt it. Chicago PD even approved it for duty use. Today, the XD family has grown into the XDM, the XDS, and the XDE lines. Street prices run $400 to $650, and millions have been sold. The same Croatian pistol that couldn't get respect in '99 is now considered one of the best values in the striker-fired world. Sometimes all a good design needs is a second chance and the right name behind it. Number 1. SIG Sauer P365. At the very top of this list is a pistol that launched as a disaster and still managed to become the single best-selling carry gun in America. At SHOT Show 2018, SIG Sauer rolled out the P365, and the pitch was almost unbelievable. A true micro-compact pistol, the size of a single stack, but with a standard capacity of 10+1 rounds of 9mm. The excitement was off the charts. Then reality hit. The first wave of P365s had problems. Striker drag, broken strikers, dead triggers, failures to return to battery. Gun forums lit up with horror stories. YouTube reviewers documented malfunctions in real time. And the gun that was supposed to be SIG's crown jewel for concealed carry looked like a total flop, which was a shame because the concept was revolutionary. 1 inch wide, 4.3 inches tall, 5.8 inches long, 17.8 ounces unloaded, and yet it held 10+1 flush fit, or 12+1 with an extended mag. That was made possible by a brand new tapered magazine design. It fed like a double stack, but carried like a single. Most companies would have pulled the plug right there, but SIG didn't. They re-engineered the striker, tightened up the manufacturing, addressed every reported issue, and rolled out the corrected version in the middle of 2018. The problem? The bad reputation was already spreading like wildfire. And then something unexpected happened. The people who bought the fixed pistols started raving about them. They found that the gun shot far better than its size suggested. The trigger was crisp. The night sights were excellent right out of the box. And it really did carry 11 rounds in a footprint smaller than most 7-round pistols. Word spread fast in concealed carry circles. The P365 wasn't just fixed, it was exceptional. By 2019, it was the #1 selling handgun in America, and it has held that crown nearly every year since. SIG expanded the family. The P365 XL, the P365 SAS, and eventually the P365 X Macro with a 17-round capacity. Police departments approved it for backup and off-duty carry, and civilian shooters pushed sales past 3 million units. Today, the base model runs about $599, and every major manufacturer has rushed to release their own micro-compact double-digit capacity pistol. The P365 didn't just survive a catastrophic launch. It redefined what a carry pistol could be, and it forced the entire industry to follow its lead. From surplus imports to modern game changers, these 7 firearms prove one thing: the gun market doesn't always get it right the first time. Prejudice, bad launches, or plain misunderstanding might hold a design back. But when shooters discover the true value, even the most mocked firearm can turn into a runaway success. Remember, today's punchline could be tomorrow's must-have. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe for more deep dives, and drop a comment below with the gun you think deserves a second chance.